Hey y'all, welcome back to Daydream Manor Flower Farm. I'm Dawn and I live in South Louisiana. And today's video is a little bit different than what I normally talk to you all about. Welcome in to the Flower Farm desk area. This is my office, my little office area for flower farming. I share it with my off-farm office and my craft room. So it is a multi-purpose room. For this, let me say this, excuse me. I am so sorry about this diva ring. It is so distracting. But when I turned on my camera and that, I was like, oh my gosh. So my walls are this beautiful compassionate cream and I love it. But it makes everything look yellow on camera. So it looked like I had jaundice. Not flattering. And then not to mention, it has been raining here for 3 days. I've been in and out of the rain. I need a cut. I need a color. So I'm sorry. And I know, and you can see that diva light in my glasses, which is super distracting. So sometimes you'll see me, I'll probably be trying to lean away or something, but bear with me. This video is really going to be geared toward my Louisiana flower friends who are trying to navigate getting their floral license. So if you don't want to hang around for this, don't blame you. I will see you next week. If you want to hang around and just see the craziness that we have to go through to be a flower farmer, to sell bouquets, hang on, it gets good. We are the only state that requires flower farmers to have a a retail florist license in order to sell bouquets. Yes, you heard me correctly. Insanity. So I am just going to work through this and just try to help you all as much as I can. And I'll be happy to answer any questions for anything I don't cover to the best of my knowledge. So, oh wait, I better do this. This video is for educational purposes only. It is simply me sharing my journey as I went through to obtain my retail florist license. I am not an expert, nor am I a representative of the Louisiana Department of Agriculture. I would encourage you to do your own research. But again, this video is for educational purposes only. Okay. Pretty good, huh? All right, we got that out of the way. So let's jump into it. All right, first things first, we're going to go to the Louisiana Department of Agriculture's website. Up here, you're going to see business resources in a tab. Click it, go down to licensing and permit. Continue down, scroll down again till you get to florist and flower dealer licensing. And I know this is going to be hard for you all to see, but this is like the best angle I can get right now. Click on about florist and flower farmer. Flower dealer licensing. Y'all, I'm going to say this. This website is 100 times better than it was. When I was getting my license years ago, it was just so convoluted. And you had to use the search bar pretty much for everything. And I didn't even know what the hell I was searching for. I needed a keyword and it's like, okay, flower, whatever. It was super hard to navigate. This is 100 times better. I love how it looks. And I'm glad I went and looked at it earlier before I got on here to video because I was like, wow. All right. But let's still walk through it. The first thing I saw in here was types of license. Y'all, I love that they did this. And so let's talk about that for a minute because you need to know how you're going to sell your flowers. What are you doing? Are you doing bundles? Are you doing bouquets? Where are you selling them to? Who are you selling them to? And we talk about this when you in one of my other videos, like you need to know who is your customer. So here's the differences. A bundle, and we need to make sure you understand this. A bundle is simply the same type of flower put together. So if you are going to sell flowers and you just want to sell a bunch of 10 sunflowers or just a bunch of just zinnias, those are bundles. The minute you add a piece of greenery to it or you add a different flower to it, it is now a bouquet. Those put you in two very different areas. One is a permit you will need, one is a license you will need. So you need to think this through. Even if, for instance, I am coming to your farm, you only sell bundles, and I'm going to get a bundle of sunflowers and a bundle of zinnias, and you're like, oh, I'm just going to put them together, tie them together, and she can take them like that. Y'all, that's a bouquet. And I will tell you, I have been told by several people, a couple who no longer farm, that were selling their flowers at farmers markets and some other places, they were reported. They were asked if they had a license, and when they said no, they were reported by the old school flower mafia people. I can't call them the flower mafia, y'all. If I go missing, let's just call them the people, because there is still a regime of old school people who do not want flower farmers in the retail florist space. Now, I will say this. I am not a trained florist, nor do I want to be one. That's just not what I want to do. So I think there's room for everyone, but that's just my philosophy. So just get your license. Just be legal, get your license. That way you don't get in any trouble. All right. So we got the difference. If it's all one type of flower, that's a bundle. You add a piece of greenery into it, it's a bouquet. Now, if you say, well, all I'm going to do is bundles, you're going to need the cut flower permit, the cut flower dealer permit. So all that is an application and $90 a year. That's it. There's no test to that. So there is an upside to that. Now, when I first started out, that is what I got first, because my first year, y'all, I needed to figure out if I could even grow anything, right? Like I didn't know the difference between gomphrena and a zinnia. I needed to understand if I could grow, but I went ahead and got my cut flower permit, because just in case, I was just like, well, what if I grow and all my sunflowers grow and I just need to sell sunflowers? So I got that, and I still have it. I probably don't need to be renewing it, but I just have. So that's what you will need. Now, I'm going to move down to Wholesale Florist. If you see here, a Wholesale Florist license. This is something else you need to think about. If you click on it, and real quick, while we're down here, when you click on it, related links show up. Take Title 3, open it in a new tab, and that Title 7 link, open it in a new tab, because we're going to come back to that. All right, go back up to Wholesale Florist license. If you were going to sell cut flowers, plant material, or ornamental plants to a retail florist, you need this license. You need it. And it costs money. So here's what you need to know. It is $114 to take the exam. Upon completion and passing, it is $100 for the license itself. But wait, there's more. It's like an infomercial. But wait, there's more. Except this one doesn't have an easy payment plan. So, all right. So what do you need to do in order to get this license? You have to take the test. All right. If you open up where it says exam content, and I'm going to explain this a little bit more in detail when we get to the retail florist piece, because it is important. But if you look at this, and I know it's hard for you all to see, but I'll just tell you, this tells you what the test is, what makes up the test. These are all the areas of topics that you need to go look at in order to study. So like, for instance, rehydration, 5% of the test is on rehydration. 4% is on horticultural rules and regulations. 18% is in quality loss and ornamentals. So this tells you the areas that you're going to study. Now, what are you going to study? A resource. Where are you going to get that resource? Wait. Here we go. All right. Order exam reference material. Of course. Your reference material for this license is through the Society of American Florists. So if you're a member, the book is $30. If you're not a member, the book is $50. Okay? So you have to get the book, because you've got to go study what I just showed you, all of those different topics. So you got to get the book. So I'm just saying, do what you need to do. All right. So once you have all of that, then you will do the same steps. You'll do the same steps that you'll do for the retail license. So we'll get into that one now. All right. So go up, click on Retail Florist Licensing. Okay. I will tell you, this was so much better. And let's start off here. Okay. This was, I'm really impressed with this. So one of the things you need to study is plants. Y'all, when I took this test, it didn't have this. So I go wandering around the nursery and my local big box build it yourself home improvement place, and I'm just looking at plants. I don't know what plants. I don't know if I need to look at this plant, that plant, all the plants. What freaking plants do I need to know? So I'm just walking around and just like praying it's just soaking in. I even went to some very established florists and looked on their websites to see what kind of plants they sent to people so I could at least narrow down the field. So this is awesome. It's 22 pages. No, 18 pages. And it is houseplants. I mean, somebody even said that to me. Well, it's just houseplants. Well, what if you don't have houseplants? Duh. So this is awesome. And it is houseplants, y'all. And I know a lot of you will be like, okay, I got that. But you just need to go look at them because this is on the test. It's 10%. 10% of the questions will come from this document. So I did like this. This was making things much easier. All right. After you do that, then you need to go look at the exam content. We'll look at that real quick. So again, rules and regulations are 12%. Care and handling of flowers is 24%. Element of design, 10%. So this is going to help you when I show you this next piece. All right. So guess what else you're going to need? Resource material. Guess what that is? It's a book. Now, I got tickled at this because it says copyright 2001. No, that's so misleading. All right. This is Flowers Creative Design. This book is $70. 70. I looked everywhere for it. I looked on Thrifted Books. I couldn't find it. I found it for $70. This book was written in 1952. 52. And you know it's old when the description says cloth. And some of you younger people out there are like, cloth? What is that? Yeah, that's how old this book is. 1952. It's a very interesting book, by the way. All right, so you got to order your book. Now, you have your book and you have your plant guide. So I'm going to tell you how I studied for this that worked for me. I took the book and I didn't read it all. I wasn't reading it all. I got so tickled in here because in one point is all about weddings. And I mean, it actually gives like the definition of a ring bearer and positioning and all of this stuff. And I'm like, when is the last time I have been to a fully traditional wedding in the last decade? Like, so outdated. Y'all, it's so outdated. And I think, and this is just my opinion, and I look at this and I'm like, with all the new young talent that is coming out in the floral industry, who are doing things very differently, who are not that traditional, make it look like a round design bouquet, like they are being whimsical in that. I can't imagine what they think of this, but I get we've got to regulate an industry. I just question, is this the best we have? And is this the best education we can get? Anyway, I'm going to get off my soapbox. Y'all know I'll get on that quick. So when you, let me go back to the exam content. So if you look down the list, element of design is 10%. Principles of design is 10%. The very first chapter in this book is elements and principles of design. Straight off of here. So I took this book and I marked, look, these are all still my stickers. I went through and for each one of these topics, I correlated it in the book and I marked those pages. That's the chapters I read. I didn't read everything else. I didn't. I didn't. I didn't see the purpose. No. No, no. It didn't resonate with me. It's not something I'm going to do anyway. And so, I mean, flip through it. It's kind of entertaining. I will say it is kind of entertaining. All right. So after you do that, come back here, because remember when I told you about the rules that I had you open in the two other tabs? Because that's 12%. That's going to be 12% of your grade. So if you come back over here to Title III, that is the commission, the Horticultural Commission. You need to read through that. You need to know how many members, like what's a quorum. Go and look at it. So if you work in, if you are in a government agency, anything like that that has a commission, this is going to be very familiar to you. If you've never ever had to deal with any kind of commission or committee or anything like that, you read this once or twice, you'll get it. It's not that difficult. Just read through it, be familiar with it. Title VII, the other one I had you open, that's where you're going to spend a little bit more time, because it's a little bit more detailed, and the document's much longer. So you're going to come through here, and I think it's page 22. Let me make sure. Yes, 22. You're going to look where it says Retail Florist Professional Standards, and that's what you're going to read. I also looked, and then this general requirements for all license or permittees, that you need to read as well. I went through this document, I downloaded it, and then I highlighted everything that had to do with a retail florist. That's all I read. I didn't read the other stuff about an arborist. I didn't read any of that. I just looked strictly for a retail florist. So you have that. So now you've got three things that you're looking at. You're looking at the rules and regulations, technically, because I'm combining that as one. Then you have the plant guide, and you have your book. All right. The other piece that you can, the other piece you can use, and let me go to that real quick. I'm going to open up another tab real quick, is Quizlet. It's Quizlet. It is the... It is flashcards, learning tools, kind of that solutions. If you put in up here, Louisiana Retail Florist Exam. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Right here. Somebody has already, look, it says 7 study years today. So some of y'all are out here studying it. So if you click on it, you do have to have an account to see all of them. So I'm just going to kind of explain it to you. You can set up an account pretty quickly. It's just your email. This is flashcards. So like, let me click back. Whoop. Like her flashcards say, first and foremost, basic needs of cut flowers. And if you flip it, the answer is water. So these are just flashcards that are on the system. There's a match game you can play. This is where I spent probably 75% of my study time, was on Quizlet. It was just easier for me because it scores you all of that. So you can do it as a test. And that was extremely helpful. So those are the 4 things you can study. You need to study. You use your book. You correlate the exam content to what's in the book. You use the plant guide, and then those 2 documents that are the Title III and Title VII, and then you use Quizlet. So that will help you get your study. So then what do? All right. Next up, what you're going to do is your application to take the test. And once they receive the application and process it, you have like 90 days to do the test. It is $114 to take the exam. And then upon passing is $100 for the license itself. Now, here's the other piece that they didn't tell you about, and I guess I didn't know because I took mine early in the year, so I guess I didn't think about it, but somebody had sent me a message. So if you take your test in October, and you pay your $100, you're going to pay that $100 again in December. The license renews calendar year, January to December. So not October to October, July to July, whatever. It is calendar year. So keep that in mind financial wise, like when you're going to take your test. So you will go into the office on Florida Boulevard in Baton Rouge. When I went, there wasn't anybody that was in the lobby. So I just started walking and a lady pointed me in the right direction. I think it was on the first floor to the left. And the ladies in there were super, super nice. And y'all, I have severe test anxiety, like make you sick kind of anxiety. And I know all the tips, tricks, and tools to calm myself, but it's still a thing. And so I get in there and there are a couple of, like, I think maybe 2 or 3 other people who were going to be testing at the same time. And the ladies were super sweet. They like, you good? And they like, how you doing today? I'm like, I don't know. I just threw up in the parking lot. And she's like, oh my God, are you sick? And I'm like, yeah, test anxiety sick. And she's like, are you going to need a garbage can in the room? I'm like, maybe. I don't know. So they get everybody together. Then they take you into another room. They had a bank of lockers where you had to lock everything in the locker because you can't bring anything into the testing room. You go into the testing room. It is a glassed in room. There is audio and visual monitoring. So you can see yourself up in the monitor and they can hear because you're not allowed to talk in the space. And I had just sat down and the lady came in to make sure everybody's computer was fine. And she came and she just quietly set a garbage can next to me. And I just looked at her. I was like, thank you, ma'am. I hope I don't throw up in front of all these people and on camera. Because, you know, but it would be me. So I did it. I was the last one to be finished. And look, all you need is a D. And you got to remember that. So for my really high performers, some of that takes the pressure off because all you need is a D. You need 70% to pass. That's it. That's it. So it's still hard though to like mentally prepare that. So I take it. Everybody else was finished. I'm the only one left in the room. And I'm like, then I get a whole nother level of anxiety. Like, oh my God, am I taking too long? Because I'm a second guess it. Like, so I get to the last question and I answer it. It says, oh, do you want to submit your answers? And I'm like, no, yes, click. And I passed. And when I passed, I went, yes. And I caught myself because I'm like, oh my God, you're not supposed to talk. So they tell you, you know, once you submit it, somebody will come in. So I'm sitting there and here she comes and I'm like, I'm going to get in trouble. And she just looked at me, she said, honey, we were watching. And she said, when you hollered yes, she said, we all hollered yes. That made me feel so good that they were cheering me. They were cheering for me. I didn't even know, but they were cheering for me. So they were super kind. We finished that up. I paid my $100 and I got the license like, I think it was not even a week. It was really quick. So you have to go back every 5 years and retake the test. This year I'll have to go back and take my test. I think at the end of the year. I need to check and see how that actually works. Because my first year that I grew, again, I didn't do it because I didn't sell anything. I didn't sell anything my first year. I really didn't sell anything my first year and a half because I needed to understand how to grow things, right? So it is an imposition for sure. It is crazy. We are the only ones that do it, but so is a lot of other things in Louisiana. I think here's the other thing. There is no shame if you do not pass. Look, I have been in adult education, training, all of that space for a long time. It is hard the older you get to get into a study mindset. Even if you've been out of school for 2 years, it is very hard to get back into that. It is also hard. I will say this. Y'all know I talk about this all the time. My memory is not what it used to be. So I do struggle retaining some of that. I think everybody has issues. I have a learning disability, so that's also another part of my struggle. And then the test anxiety. But there is no shame. I would have kicked myself if I had failed it. Yes. But I'd have just went back and retook it. I want to say you had to wait 2 weeks to retake it maybe. I can't remember. And I did not look that up on the site. But truthfully, I would have just went back and paid the other $114 again and retook the test. I mean, at least I would have known what was on the test. So just take it. You'll be fine. Just read your stuff. It is not as bad as you think it's going to be. I will tell you, I didn't retain anything out of this book. Nothing. No, I'm lying. I know what gauge to use in a funeral spray. I don't know why I remember that. I just think that's just a random bit. And I think when I read that, I was like, why would I'm not going to make funeral sprays. Like, that's not even, I don't even have a remote desire to do it. But hey, who knows? Maybe I will now. I don't know. I can. I absolutely can. I mean, I have to watch a YouTube video, but my license says I can. Anyway, all right, folks. I think that's everything. Oh, look, here's the other license that you need to also look at if you want to sell bulbs or anything like that. Starter plants. You need to look at the nursery license. You will have to have one of those. That is not a test. Y'all, I'm sorry. That was my phone again. I thought I had quieted it. Evidently not. That is not a test. It is, again, it's a permit, like the cut flower dealer permit. It is based on your growing space. So it's like if it's a home garden, like under 2,500 square feet, I think it's $25. Anything else is $100. They do come out and do a yearly check. It's funny because they come in November, and I don't have anything growing in November because that's usually when I'm flipping beds and we're moving into cool season and that. So, but the guy comes out, he's very nice. He did tell me this year when we talked about my flowers, he was like, do you have a cut flower permit or what? And I said, no, I have a retail florist license because I do bouquets. He goes, oh, you'll be on my other list. Like, what other list? He said, we have to do check-ins there too. And he said, do you have your license? And so I came back inside, I got it. And he said, I said, well, what do you inspect for? And he said, we have to look at your cooler. I said, well, I don't have a cooler. He said, well, then I'm done. So he actually did the paperwork to check off both of those that he had done the inspection. So that is the first time I had ever heard of that. Didn't know that was a thing. But the guy was really nice and he had a lot of good information for me. So that's something else you might want to look into. I hope I covered everything, and I was trying to do it quickly because it could be a very long video. But if you have any other questions, just drop them in the comments. I will try to get back to you. Look, I have faith in y'all. I have faith in y'all. I mean, come on. Worst case scenario, you got to go take it again. And then I know it's another $114. I get that because, you know, I'm going to justify it by like, oh, well, another $114. Well, that's probably us eating out twice. So I'm just not going to eat out twice. And on Mondays when we make red beans and rice, I'm just going to double the recipe because beans is cheap. So y'all go have a great day. Get everything lined up. I wish you the best of luck. I hope to see you soon. Y'all have a wonderful week. And we'll talk again next week.